All right, we've been having a little warm-up discussion. Oh, actually, I'm 1 minute early. Depends on what clock. Anyway, yeah, you can shut it. We may have somebody else come. You could just inform.
Tiny bit of.
Sounds good. Rubbing hands together gently, just a light conversation going on here in the background. Which I purposely left the audio on, so in case you were tuning in and wanted to be like a fly on the wall and listen to what's being spoken about, you could hear it if you wanted to. So yeah, we're talking about grounding, which is a very this month. We're talking about grounding and as a highlight, and this is a very important idea. Qigong in and of itself, at least the way I teach it, and the way that a lot of people teach it, although probably not everybody. It is a form of grounding practice, meaning like sort of anchoring yourself. You could flip that up. Yeah, you can close it. I think you're the only last one coming. Rubbing your hands together here. Yeah. So grounding is important because as I've explained in many courses and many teachings over the years, now if you've been tuning in, you would have some understanding of this. Everybody wants on one level more energy, right? Like that's the idea, higher vibration, higher vibrational energy, etc., to feel lighter and to unearth some of our heaviness. But in order to do that, we have to have some kind of connection and some kind of groundedness. Today, even though, of course, in my certification program, everything else, I go into more details, but I'm going to give you guys some greater highlights here today as to what all this means. Maybe you'll have some deeper knowledge as to what's going on. And this is an answer to some of the questions that got started here by Carrie asking me a few questions. So it's got my mind warmed up and I'm going in a direction now. So look out. Gently rubbing hands together. Toss that water a little bit. So first thing is, it seems like that you really can't tell anything that I'm doing while I'm doing is standing here, right? But it's literally that when you stand, you should like feel connected. So like if I were to move around and I were to go like this and I were to go boom, I'm connected. If you were to move around, and I don't know, you're going to try it yourself, but you're going to move around like this. And then I want you to stop and see how wobbly inside you feel. Because the moment you feel that wobbling around inside, that's the ungroundedness. So you want to take your mind. It's not about like just what you do with your body, but it's about what you're doing with your mind. They say like yi leads the qi. So it's like mind leading the qi. And so if you walk around, you're moving in a circle. So like first a circle on the floor, I'm moving, I'm shuffling my feet, going around it like a clock. Okay. So go around your clock, you're shuffling your feet right here. Already you have to practice grounding so you don't fall down. And then right in the middle of your clock, just try and stop, place your feet. And whatever kind of like whoa, whoa, whoa you feel going on here, any kind of off balancing or anything, that's the sense of ungroundedness. You want to take the mind and place them in the feet. So the way that I just showed you this, one more time, we go around the clock, and I said, stop. And whatever's going on here, I said, put it in the ground. But now let me be even more clear as to how I would recommend you do it, the higher level of doing it. The higher level of doing it is not that I walk around, let's walk around. And the moment I place my feet, my mind go to my feet. It has to be that way. Otherwise, you made a mistake. It doesn't mean you can't recover from it, but you've made a mistake. If you walked around, it didn't put your mind to your feet right away. So you're walking your circle, you're walking your circle, you're walking your circle, and then boom, put the mind to the feet. Don't just place the feet there. but immediately put the mind to the feet, bend the knees. And if it's helpful for right now, you can also point the fingers down toward the feet, because this is an extension of mind into the ground. Okay. The body becomes a symbol for getting grounded. So let's do that one more time. You're just walking around. You don't have to be exactly like a clock. You can even just go up, forward, and back, and all of this, and then just try and find position, and then place your mind right down into your feet. That takes time to get used to. This is another way to practice it. And then here, upper body should be able to sway. Upper body should be able to make a little bit of a circular pattern going one way, circular pattern going another way. Arms lifting, hands lifting, mind lifting, and completely just letting that go. So like a light lift and then a letting go. Okay, rolling the shoulders and the elbows. You're kind of pulling from the shoulder and the elbow to loosen up the shoulders, and then lift and drop. Let's do it wrong for a minute just so we have an understanding, because beginners who have stress, they will do it quote unquote wrong. Make your shoulders just a little bit tight just for a minute, like you're picking up a heavy object, and shrug your shoulders toward your ears. This is the wrong way to lift your arms and your hands. And you can feel that, feel what it's like, so that if you ever do it, you know not to. Now just let it drop. So now instead, lift from the, imagine like your wrists are being picked up by like puppet strings here, and then just let that drop. So this is like puppet strings, let them drop. Puppet strings, drop. And I'm letting them just literally land on my thighs. Boom. So that's so that my arms are not efforting in any way to hold themselves up. Okay. I'm going to pull with that elbow. This time I'm not doing so much the shoulder, I'm pulling with the elbow now. So this is like a reeling silk-like movement. So I'm pulling with the elbow, and I'm also pivoting at my waist. So if I'm pulling to my left side, my left elbow is back, I'm pulling to the left hip, and then the right hip. Sometimes you can do this where it's straight on, but in the way that I'm doing it here, I'm actually pulling with a little bit of a turn to it. And this is an extension. This one here, high. This one here, low. Mind is holding in this position. And with one high and one low, high reaching toward heaven, low toward earth, this is actually a very strong position if it's done with mind. Switch and pull with the other one, and now point down with that one. That's your groundedness, and this here is your connection to heaven here. And then switch it. And this isn't just, it's not just pointing. It's like if you had a hose and you were trying to roll it up. You're extending, you're stretching the hose out so that it doesn't have too much wobbly and slack in it. You're stretching the loop out, if that makes sense. And then you're rolling it. So you're rolling, you're pulling. This is in an upward direction, the way I'm doing it right here. Upward, 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 coming up toward my face, up toward my face, up toward my face, up toward my face, up toward my face. Okay. I can pull with the elbow down here in that fashion, pulling, 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 elbow, 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 elbow. This is where the flow is. Hold your arm out like that. Try and lift this way. Like close your fist and just lift straight up. You have no power here. If I were to come over and grab your wrist, even gently, and say, go ahead and try and get out of here, and you started to try and pick up like this, you would realize how weak this movement is. The moment you add your elbow and pull, there's free flow. There's free flow, there's also power. And if it was in a martial arts setting or that type of thing, you would realize, wow, the Qigong mechanics really apply to martial art. Because wow, it's much easier for me to pull with my elbow in my body than it is to try and just use my deltoid and this part of my forearm here to lift up something, whatever it happens to be. So it's a pull, it's a drawing. 1, 2, 3, pulling from the ground, pulling, and I'm connected here. Pulling, 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 pulling. Your cup. Turn your cup, your plate, your saucer. Hold it. Pass it to the other hand. Keep the saucer on your hand. Saucer in your other hand. Just in case you don't have insurance on your cell phone, don't do it with your cell phone or your mom's best china. One of the reasons that any of these movements, inhale, take quite a bit of time and practice to perfect, so to speak, is that again, when you move, that looks different, doesn't it, than what I was doing before? It's definitely not as purposeful. Kind of looks right. If I was a brand new beginner, I'd be doing a pretty good job. I want to hold that saucer. I want to keep my arm and my hand somewhat taut. That's the thing with Qigong. There's a certain degree of tension and a certain degree of relaxation you're trying to find the correct in between. And when I move this hand and I move it to here, let's say, it's not that I move just the hand. Keith, just hold this lightly, but with 2 hands. Just, you're not trying to stop me, but you're just trying to see what happens with. I just want to show you a little bit of a wave idea here. So I'm holding the saucer. This is not a martial arts movement, but it's applicable here to understand what I'm doing with my energy. If I just kind of do something with my arm, this is what the wave looks like in his body. Notice his head isn't really changing position and his feet are not really changing position. If I extend my energy here and I get grounded here and I bring the plate to me, and then I bring, and hang on, don't let go there. And I bring the plate and I keep going. You see what's happening to Keith now? Keith has to, and I'll let him loose there a little, and he keeps hanging on. Now, when I bring my hand here and I go to bring it back through, if I just move the arm, it would be very weak, but I move from my core, Keith has to come for the ride. He's going to follow. Thank you. So the main idea is, and it's tricky to teach, but connection all the way through your movement. So hold your hand here. Let's do a sloppy version first, everybody together. Sloppy version, so to speak, would be it's kind of, you're not really sure what you're doing. And you're kind of just moving that hand. It's doing something, but you're not totally sure what it's doing. And then you're doing something over here and you're not totally sure what it's doing. Now hold the hand flat, you're holding a plate. you're attempting to rotate your thumb toward the computer. The plate is still being held up. Plate is still toward the ceiling. Keep rotating. I need to lift my elbow now. Lift the elbow. You may even need to drop your body. My hand is here. Plate is still being held to the ceiling. I want to bring this around and through slow. My armpit and present the plate. Switch the plate. Plate is flat to the ceiling. Still flat to the ceiling. I'm losing it a little because my wrist is getting twisted, so I raise that elbow. Staying here. Don't get stuck here. Keep moving, but move slow. Don't go through there too fast either. So if I just stay on this side, I want to feel all those muscles and tendons and so on as I'm forming this. It becomes mindful, and it's happening in conjunction as an extension, I should say, even better, of my lower body, my connection to earth, and I'm bringing this spiral up and through my body. If I go to the other hand now and I bring, and I have the plate. You'll also know when you're doing it right, more right, so to speak, because you will get this charged breath that starts happening, and it will also increase your temperature. So when we make a movement with our arms, that is coming up from our root, inhale, and our roots that we have grown in the ground, exhale here. Inhale here. Bring the backs of the hands together. Pull them up, bring them out this way, turn them over, press them together, reach up. Roll them in so the backs of the hands touch. From here, draw the energy up. As you draw this energy up, turn your hands over without hurting your wrists. You're in a position like this. Careful of your wrists. Hold some tension there. And then roll the hands, touch them together. Touch the heart space. Go up. Exhale here. Continue the exhale as you rotate your hands. Inhale as you draw the energy up. Turn this over, hold your breath for a second, reach up. You can get a little extra air there, and exhale here. Press down with your left hand. Go up with your right hand, go over your head this time. You have the plate. Continue the motion. Go all the way back up, freeze. Change position of hands. Left hand now, or whatever hand goes, like it's got the plate. Comes all the way back around. Goes back to position. Switch your hands. Whatever hand you're working with, thumb toward the computer screen. Pivot around with the plate. Plate comes back up, turn the hand back over. This is our separating heaven and earth technique from the 8 brocades. And then we switch hands. There's my separating heaven and earth, okay? And then from here, we're adding this little plate saucer technique. Come up, and I'm gonna come all the way back around, and I shift. Move with my hands, saucer. All the way back to where I started from. And then I shift and I go up. Here's our 8 brocades technique. Now I move with my thumb. I'm trying to keep the hand mostly to the ceiling. I rotate it around. I'm going to present the plate. There it is. But then I can rotate again, like I'm going to go into the same full thing, but I just go back to here. So basically, like you have another half happening there, if that makes sense. And then I go up, switch. So here's a full one. So we go all the way out, down, and around, and then we come back up here for this half of a movement, so to speak. We go right there, and then switch. And then this one here, once you kind of catch your breath, you feel connected to heaven and earth, move that hand, there's my saucer. Bring it through the armpit area, I present the plate, I come back up, I extend over the top of my head, we're right back to that, and switch. Brain teaser, if nothing else. Come up, switch hands. You see the way I'm doing it now. I'm going a little bigger with my movement. So I'm just going way out, and look, keep it way out. And then I come way back up and I switch, and I'm going to go big. So I go big movement here. I keep it way out here, still making it a big movement. I come all the way back around. Allows me a little bit more stretch and a slightly different and bigger range of motion. I want to freeze at the end. So like after you make a movement here, and then you like get to here, let's say, freeze there for a moment so you can catch up with your breath and yourself and so on. Then make your switch. Then when you're ready, make a movement there. However long it takes you to get back to there. Pause for a moment, then go into your... And by the way, this is literally nothing traditional. I have no idea. Somebody's probably figured this out before, but I just happened to be practicing this recently in the afternoon one day, and I realized, wow, I'm like, these two techniques, they are very similar and they could be put together. So again, this 8 brocades where we just do the switching. So if we bring this hand down and go up, you know, this one is whatever, 2,000–3,000 years old, where they've done this and this. And then again, we see the saucer one in other forms of Qigong. It's interesting to me that you can put those two together like we did. Inhale here, exhale. Inhale as you bring some energy back to the kidneys. Exhale as you go down the backs of the legs. Around the outside of the feet. Inhale coming up. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And let's open up the spine a little bit and move the energy. So in this time that we have left, again, you know, some people will be finishing out this class and they'll just go do other things. Some people have been doing this class, this particular class, literally for 2 years, this Thursday afternoon gig. Some of you will be, of course, continuing on in various capacities, including the fact that we have a free webinar, 2-hour webinar being sponsored by the Love Peace Amen Foundation on November 12th, I believe it is. And that will be these classes that we're doing. We have 4 left, including today, so 3 more after this one, that will lead us right into that weekend program. Okay, which then leads us right into next year with other programs, full weekend workshops and different things that we have going on, and some free classes again online and so on. So I, of course, am going to use this time that we have together as a like march, if you will, the next several classes here, boom, 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 because they're all relatively speaking right in a row. And that is going to literally march us right into the new year. It'll give some of us, namely me, a little breather in December, which will be good. I need it, and I'll take advantage of it and come back strong for next year. So Anyway, that's how I'm going to teach it to you. That's how I recommend you practice it. And take these practices right up into your new year. Because some of you know that, yes, I'm a Qigong teacher. Yes, that's one of my primary labels out in the public world. But I'm a longtime practitioner of all of these different arts of alchemy and meditation and healing practices and so on. And as we were discussing with Carrie's question when she came in, I was talking to Carrie and Keith and a couple of others that got here early online. Anyway, we are very deep wells. This is a little taste of that conversation, little flashback, Carrie. We are very deep wells. Human beings are very deep wells. So if I were to tell you that you were a well, where, this question will go to Carrie because she asked me about it. So, Carrie, if you're a well and there's water in this well, where does the greatest sediment sit?
In the belly, the lower dantian?
Well, at the bottom of the well, and in this case, yes, your well, it would sit in lower dantian and it would sit in the root. Okay, so the soot, the heaviness, sits in the lower belly, and it sits in the roots, and it sits in the legs. And for some people, they experience that from the time they're born. They're already having trouble walking, they're in pain, whatever. And for other people, it doesn't hit them until they're 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. They trip, they sneeze, they fall down, and all of a sudden they're bombarded by pain and different things that maybe they never even experienced before in their life. But here's the secret for you. It may be a secret to some of you, and you may appreciate knowing it. It was there the whole time. Pause. Think about that for a minute. It was there the whole time. And now it's surfacing. Why now? Man, couldn't I have just gone through my whole life and not had to experience that? Why now? Well, there's different factors. Again, you could have tripped, you could have fallen down, but why did you trip and fall down in the first place? You tripped and fell down in the first place because this thing that was hiding is now coming to the surface. When we say something is hiding, we mean it's out of your awareness. And if we mean that it's out of your awareness, we mean it's hiding in what part of the mind, Keith?
It's hidden in my brain right now.
That's hidden in the unconscious. It's hidden in the subconscious. So it's hidden somewhere where you can't see it. But the universe is kind, although challenging sometimes. But the universe is kind, but challenging sometimes. Because the universe will show you what you're hiding from in the mirror called the universe. So the people who come into your life, they're going to mirror back to you your unfinished business. So your unconscious and your subconscious is no longer as unconscious or subconscious. It's right in your face. But if you make the mistake of pushing it off like it has nothing to do with you, and those people have nothing to do with you, and their problems have nothing to do with you, well, then you're in denial. And that denial will lead to a perpetuation of whatever problems you're experiencing in your life. Whereas practices of what Jesus would have called forgiveness and what the Buddha would have called compassion and things of that nature, what some Taoist practitioners would call meditation or Qigong practice. These things are designed to disengage you from the crap you're holding on to. So whatever crap you're holding on to, whatever you're fighting with, whoever you can't look at in your life, or whatever pain you're dealing with, these practices are designed to take your mind away from that stuff for a while and cause you to breathe and cause you to burn up some of that energy that has been revealed to you as an ache, as a pain, as a problem in your life. And if you're successful in alchemizing that pain, that problem, etc., well, that's excellent news. You got over that hurdle and you can move on. And the Buddhists would call that hurdle your karma, okay, your unfinished business. And when you actually bring it up and get over that hurdle, you've now finished that business. And until you finish that business, you're going to attract a multitude of situations, people, problems, dynamics, etc., that are going to cause you to have to be face to face with that challenge. And the problems can look very different, but they have a common source. So that's why, getting your mind around things like this will certainly expedite your process and help you get through some of these things quicker and more successfully. Because there's a saying within the New Age community, it's also a very old saying, that which you resist persists. And that's why. The more you resist it, the more you fight against it, the more it keeps coming back at you. And so, but it's also, you can't deny it because it'll like run you over. So you have to find a balance between, not running away and not running towards, but standing the middle ground. Let that unwind. Hold your mind to your feet. Don't let yourself keep swinging. Place your mind in your feet. Then let that energy rise. We're going to slow with our hands. We're going to go like this. We're going to fan the energy. And right now, you can either inhale as you're bringing your hands up, or you can just, and exhale as your hands are coming down, or you can just leave your breath alone and just kind of slowly, methodically, just imagine the chi there, or feel the energy lift, settle, lift, fill the lungs, settle. Draw some energy up. Set it down. Draw it up. Set it down. Bend the knees a little bit more. Draw the hands from the front. Bring the elbows back. You're pulling the shoulder blades together a little, and then press down. Exhale is here. Inhale is here. Pull it to your lower belly. Exhale. Wait till your breath is finished. Like if your breath gets bigger, like mine just did, wait till your breath is finished before you come back up. Go around to the right or the left, or whichever way you go around to that outside, and then send that wave to the opposite direction. So if I lean with my elbow to my right, my left leg becomes a little long. As I draw and gather the energy over here, I don't bring the hand first. I first start moving from the belly, and I begin to shift my weight. And the hand will move the energy, so to speak. I'll go back again, the same arm you're working with. I go leaning with my right elbow, leaning to my right leg. My left leg's elongated. I'm going to gather here. I do not just move the hand. I start moving from the navel center, and then the hand moves. The hand moves second. I'm going to go here, and then move from the navel. Now stay there for a moment where you are. Your hand here, see this? From your hand here. Take your other hand and put it right here, touching just below your navel center. So if Keith comes over here in that exact position he's in, okay, and you see where his hand is? If he were to put his hand here, his mind is going someplace else. And his energy is going here, but he's looking that way, and his navel center is going that way. So keep from here with your arm like this, go to pull me that way, but you're not allowed to bring your arm back toward you. Just go to pull me that way. He has very little strength here, and he's very off balance. He needs to keep the elbow bent, and he needs to stay right here. And now he turned this way a little bit first, just so you guys can see this, hopefully. So you see the navel center? Don't turn your navel center. I want you to leave it right where it is. Leave it pointed toward the camera and try and pull my body with this arm. He's very weak, okay? Here. He's just going to hold his arm here now. Hold it here. And he's going to leave it as it is. And he's going to start moving from his navel center. And then he'll start to slowly bring his, no, you moved arm first. Move with navel center. Start moving. Yeah, now go. Look at this. It's easy. So you don't have me to do that for you at home. So you have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing. But so we lean with the elbow. And your hand goes, make sure it's not out here. It's not. Very close. Elbow here, keep it close to you. Now the hand is here. I'll give you a way to do it. Don't move the hand. Just move the navel. Okay? So go elbow. The hand only goes to here, not allowed to move it. Now just turn from the belly button. Okay, let's switch to the other side. I go elbow to the other side. I bring the hand comes to this position, and bring your other hand here, like hold here. So you're aware of lower dantian. And then from this position, move from the belly, turn your waist. The hand has to come for the ride. And then from here, you can extend the hand a little bit further. And then I go elbow. And then from here, I move from the belly button and the legs. You can see my legs shifting and my belly button moving. Good. And breathe here. So in certain arts, depending on what Qigong art and so on you're learning and working with, they will say things like, for example, the Qi is all around you. So breathe here. The Qi is all around you. They will say, for example, the Qi is to your right. So gather from your right and bring it to your lower dantian. And then just cross it over to the other side. For example, you may hear some language like this, so to speak. I go with my other elbow, I will draw, and I go, oh. And some people like that, and some people go, what's this woo-woo energy? They wouldn't even talk about, I don't even know. So I like both, I teach both, but just one last little thing for understanding. If Keith holds both of my holds here, and just lightly, but you know, with something he's going to hold. We're not going to have like a wrestling match, just so you can understand. So, but from here, I have no power just in this arm to move him, right? We can sit here and wrestle and look all crazy, but I have no power to move his body with my arm, okay? So Qigong teaches you principles about how to flow and use your whole body and where your power is. So when I go to move, if I were to want to move Keith or whatever this obstacle happens to be in my life, I move from here. I move from here. And then I bring my hand to me. And he's going to have to come for the ride. And if I were to switch the position of my hand, watch what happens here. He's now, you can see how martial art is born. Okay, so thank you. So for us though, what's important is there's a little bit of a magic and a mystery there. There's proper mechanics. So whether you want to call it proper mechanics or you want to call it magical chi, it's about literally using the mechanics that you have with your body to, find the strength, the power, the flexibility, the sporadic movements, of course, huge. The sporadic movements, very important. Let's bring your self together here. Touching hands here. Slide back with your one foot. Go out onto your surfboard, done many times. Till you understand the movement of circling hands, you're just tapping your shoulders. Tap, 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 tap. Then you're trying to move your hands in a circular fashion where they're moving in the same way in general, but they're not touching the shoulder. So now you have this kind of circling. But this is just, I don't know, fanning myself, okay? I want to have this be a little more methodical, slow it down. And again here, you could be doing this just from your arms, but just with a little bit of a pivot, just with a little bit of a pivot in the right hand coming forward, you're changing the power dynamics here. If that hand comes down, the other hand comes up, and you pivot at your waist. And then the hand that's high here goes down as the other hand comes up. And without moving my hands, if I pivot at my waist, this is another one of those very powerful movements. And if I switch the hands, one pressing down, one pressing up, and I move from my waist and the hands come with, then I make the switch high and low. Then I move from the waist and make the switch high and low. I move from the waist. This is a very powerful movement. Later, then you can actually add the hands moving, where the hands are starting to move also. It takes a while to be able to put all that together and juggle it. But every once in a while, if you're wanting to understand that movement within the waist, then just leave the hands stationary and turn the body. Then one goes high, one goes low. Then move the hands stationary. One goes high, one goes low. Move from the waist. Then high and low. Okay. And then as this back hand comes forward, bring your foot. Slide your other foot back. You're on your surfboard. Put your hands out. In this position, very basic would be to touch your shoulder. You're tapping. This is an exercise in and of itself. Dial in, tap, 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 tap. Now you're trying to keep that same movement. But a lot of people they're just swinging. So you want to have a methodical movement here. They're not going too far away from you. They're staying in close. You're paying attention to this movement of your hands as one goes up and one goes down. So that's one way to start playing with it. And then what I was showing you here is if we go to this position where we spread them out. So we've been going circles, but if we spread them out, one is like holding a saucer. The other one is pushing down. From this position, if I pivot at my waist to turn toward the back, and then I switch the hands, one goes up, one goes down. This is the same motion as circling hands, but it's got a couple other juicy details in there. One going up and down. And then I pivot from the waist Move from the waist. Spread the hands apart. Move from the waist. Spread the hands apart. Move from the waist. Then later, once you start moving from the waist, your arms and hands can be a little more free. That they're moving too. But again, it takes a while to put all those pieces together. But if you can and you do, you'll have a certain experience that's a little bit different than only doing one of them or one of the pieces. All right, let me grab a sip of water. Feel free to get one yourself. So one of the, if we want to call it like one of the magical secrets of Qigong, something like that, one of its special qualities, is the idea of very mindful movement where mind, body, breath are working in synchrony with each other. And it's like taking various baseball movements or martial arts movements or football movements or whatever, and actually, or softball or whatever, and slowing them down and practicing them and the mechanics of them. And what it does is it, you know, if I'm throwing a baseball and I throw it really fast, I keep throwing it over and over again, and I use some similar mechanics to Qigong that we're practicing and so on. You know, if I'm young and don't have any problems, that may not bother me. If I have some problems, it's too fast, it's too quick, it's too harsh. But the same movement, practiced slow and methodical, could help not only the professional softball player, but it can actually help you, because there are common principles of movement that are used and where power is and isn't when you move your body. Because when you don't have power and balance in your body, you fall down and you hurt yourself. That's the simple explanation of it, okay? As simple as I can make it. All right, so bring yourself together here. Show you a little idea here. So touching hands, slide back, go to your circle. Take this backhand, whatever your backhand is. Take your front hand, place it on like your hip. You guys keep it out of the way there. There's a backhand here, right like this. If you reach out in front of yourself like this, and your pelvis is not turned toward the front, which we're not going to do. So I'm assuming your pelvis is not turned toward the front. That'd be a different explanation. Our pelvis is turned at a 45-degree angle. From that position, if I hold out this hand, if I go any further than right here, like just reach out, that's about as far as I can go. I go any further, I'm going to have no balance, no strength, no power. If I wanted to reestablish strength and power, one way to do it would be to pivot my pelvis. I now have strength and power in that arm. I can hold back or push or whatever and be powerful here. But otherwise, the moment that I rotate my pelvis and the arm becomes rounded, I'm no longer using my frame. I'm using very tiny muscles in comparison to my whole body. They're tiny muscles. Okay, so from this position here, I want to regain some power with my body because I'm going away from center, which means I'm getting ungrounded. I'm going to turn my hand over. The back of my hand is going to sink toward the floor as I bend my knees. You may not realize it, but you've already regained quite a bit of power by doing that, and strength and chi and so on. So now if I take this hand and I just keep moving it back here like so, and I start to bring it up. If I go back here, like let's go back toward the wall and like reach up like this and then bring this back like I'm going to throw a baseball. Have you ever seen, Keith, anyone bring the baseball way back here and then with no mechanics, just try and chuck it from here with just their arm.
Oh,
It's
well.
never gonna happen, okay? Not very well. So from here, when I go here, I can't just put my arm back there. Right here, bend at this hinge and bring this to here. If we're throwing baseball, we might go back further, but right here, you're like this. This is a strong position for you. From this position with your breath, inhale. As you exhale, pivot slightly and inhale. So inhale slow to here. Hold. You want to throw your baseball. Down. Draw. Exhale. Ground. Suck. This is like a sucking of energy. It's like a vortex right there. And then pivot at the pelvis slightly as you breathe. Down. Little pivot this way now. Do you see how I turn toward my backside to get a little more angle? So my arm's not doing all the work. Now my pelvis and my pivot will do the work. So I go down, pivot to the back, elbow bends at the hinge, and I push, settle, push, settle. Push. This foot comes up, this one goes back. Make sure, safe, good. From this position here, hold that hand up. Again, unless I turn my pelvis or I reach straight out, I'm losing my balance, I'm getting it. It's weird. So keep it about 3/4, elbow stays bent. In this position, you want to regain your posture, your strength, your power. So from here, the hand goes down and you just sink your weight. From this position here, as the hand goes to move toward the back and I go to bend the hinge, I'm going to pivot my pelvis that way slightly. The hinge, bend at the hinge, bring this up, yes? And now from here, pivot, there's your exhale. All this could be inhale here. This is exhale here. Inhale starts here. When I'm ready, inhale will begin here. Oh. Good. Here, inhale. Back on. Good. All right, again, you can think martial arts if you want, but you can also think just of body posture and alignment and strength. So he's going to hold his hand like this. He's holding the saucer, okay? So in your first movement there, I'm having you sink this down and like sort of settle your weight. That's the very first thing, right? So let's just look at this idea for a second. If he doesn't understand his Qigong practice, he just has like an elongated arm. And he might say to his teacher, like amongst teacher, he might say, I'm very grounded. I go, I don't think so. He goes, yeah, no, I am. My position is very grounded. This is elongated away from his body and his elbow is getting elongated, which means, go ahead and stay grounded there. This here, because this is all this way, he's very ungrounded actually, right? So, but now he goes back to holding there. And it's not about, he's not going to make any strength or anything, like trying to be strong, but he's just going to bend his elbow and he's going to hold this position. It also strengthens it if he does something like put his hand on that hip, he somehow kind of makes that connection to his lower dantian. Just watch the difference here. Do you see the difference here? Okay, go back to the other one. Okay. You see how easy? Go back to the other one now. The average person wouldn't believe this. They watch it, they'd be like, what? That's crazy. Look how much stronger he is, okay? Just from changing a simple hand position and an elbow position, okay? And connecting a frame over here to the hip, it makes you more grounded. So when you're practicing Qigong, and we say, for example, like let's do a, let's say you go to your position, and we did this one where we went here and we just brought this hand down, right? But what Keith was doing, slight variation, is like just holding this hand out like I'm holding a teacup, right? So for sure I'm like that. No balance. No balance here. And so if you're practicing your Qigong and you're keeping your arms out here and stuff, you're not getting that same kind of benefit. So legs, bend knees, frame, put this one here for now, or kind of touch lower dantian. This is a way to do it. And then from this position, this isn't going to stick out here somewhere. It's a very purposeful, I'm holding a teacup, my elbow is bent here. This becomes a very strong position, and it automatically helps you to become more grounded. It also, if we were to do heavier objects and set them here, for example, like set a heavy object here, you'd realize, whoa, I can hold a lot more than if I was like this. You're very weak here. Here, you're strong. Okay. So understanding these kinds of positions, very, very important. Okay. So good job. Inhale here. Exhale here. Stay till you're ready to breathe. Remember, mind, breath, everything comes up, and walk it down. Imagine putting the exhale into the floor. This is another one of those positions. It's not just, it's like whole mind and the extension of the arms. That's what makes all the difference. If I just go like this with my arms, that ain't it. But if I go mind, energy field, big, 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 mind coming down through the column here, makes all the difference. Bring your feet close together, relatively close, hands to a prayer-like position to your chest. Relax shoulders, arms, etc., and stay very still for a moment. And if you're comfortable to do so, you can either just gaze, or if you feel good with your balance, you can actually close your eyes for just a minute. Think of one thing in your life that you can bring a smile to, one thing that you are grateful for, one person that you're grateful for, one situation you're grateful for. Put an inner smile on your face. Think about that for 30 seconds. Say a big thank you inside your own head, so to speak. Might say a few of them. Now add another situation or two that you want to say thankful. You want to say thank you to. There's another situation or two that you're thankful for. Just go ahead and put those in your field as well. Put a little inner smile on your face. Inhale, exhale. Great job. So do with it what you desire, have fun with it, play with it, dig deeper with it if you desire, whatever the case may be. So 3 more classes next 3 weeks. We have one more class on grounding, and then we have 2 classes related to clarity, mental clarity, something like that. Can't remember the exact title. Anyway, and that will lead us right into our program on Saturday the 12th. It will be entitled Qigong for Beginners, and we will see what I teach that day. I will be as surprised as you. All right. Although by Friday night, I'll have some juicy ideas. All right. You guys take care. We'll see you soon. Good job, gang.
So much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.